and get started. All right. All right, welcome to the recording. So today, what we're talking about, we're continuing in constructions, and we're dealing with perpendicular and parallel lines. Now, we use some of the same elements. You can see here that we're going to use a double fish. We're going to use the double fish, okay? And just some reminders about parallel lines. Parallel lines never touch. They're like train tracks. And you see these little marks here? These little marks actually show that these two lines are parallel. So we make the little arrow tick marks to show that they're parallel. We know they never touch, and we know they're equal distance from each other. So think about that. The distance here between these two lines, if I go straight between the lines, has to be the same as here. Has to be same along any parallel lines are going to be the same distance. Just like train tracks. What happens if the train tracks aren't parallel? The train won't go straight, and if it's actually off too much, they'll fall off the tracks, right? You ever seen like where there's a crazy earthquake and the train tracks are all like wobbly? Like the big earthquake in Asia in like 2005, like all these train tracks had to be destroyed and rebuilt because they weren't even. And then what happens? The train tries to go over that, hops off, and you have a train derailment. No good. All right, so equal distance, that's the word we're going to use in creating parallel lines. Perpendicular lines meet at 90 degrees. It makes an upside down T as the symbol, and that's how we show that parallel lines, lines are perpendicular. The last thing here, and this is for problem number 1 in the homework, and this is looking at what a perpendicular bisector is. Now, a bisector, we did this before in the last lesson, and that was it just breaks the segment in half. It breaks the segment in half. So this is going to be a bit of a challenge for you, but I'm going to have you figure out for number 1, which I want you to do last in the homework. You're going to create a perpendicular bisector, and I'm not going to teach all aspects of it. I want you to try to figure it out. Okay. But the only thing it means it's right in the middle. We know it's in the middle because it has these tick marks on both sides. That shows that this distance is the same as that distance. Okay. So those are the bits, and now let's start to create these. All right, here we go. So perpendicular lines. Let's go ahead and create it. So first off, get your compass handy. Have your straight edge handy as well. And the thing is, first we got to create an arc around point C. Around point C. So tell me, is it going to be helpful if I make my arc that big? Is that overkill? Is that overdoing it? Okay, so just no overkill, right? So go and make it so that it actually fits within the segment. I'm going to go to C, and I'm going to lean it and drag it. Stake it, lean it, drag it. It's kind of hard, you got to go all the way around. So, try to keep that stake in the same place. If the stake part slips, then you got to start over and just do your best, guys. Okay. All right, I'm going to paste off the folks in here. How's that look? Pretty good? Okay. So now all we have to do is, watch. These points here are exactly the same distance from C, right? Because what did we just do? We used a radius that has the same distance. So, it opened up, it rotated around to get to this point, it rotated around to get to that point. Those two segments are the same. Now, what we're going to do is, just like what we did in the last lesson, we are going to make a double fish in the middle. So I want you to try to make a double fish in the middle on your own, and I'll run through it in a second. But what we're doing is going from this point, and from this point, we're going to make our double fish in the middle. How did we do that? What's the one thing I got to remember? Will I be able to make a double fish if I do it like that? And from both sides, why not? Because they won't overlap. So it's got to be more than what? Very good. Thanks, Jaden. So more than half, and go to make your double fish. All right. So now I'm going to start to do it. Looks like folks getting it. So just remember, double fish needs to be more than halfway so that they overlap, because we're going to go from this side and we're going to go from this side. They have to overlap. So I stake it, I lean it, I drag it. Right? I go to the other point, keeping the same radius. I stake it, I lean it, I drag it. All right, everyone have double fish? I'll give you another second to get it. Perfect double fish. Perfect double fish. Good, good, good. And you'll see, you could have made it way more than you needed, but then your double fish is like huge. You don't need the hugest double fish. So trying to make it where it's just like just enough, just enough. And then it looks like we're ready to do this. Let's go ahead. We already did the double fish between the arc line intersection. The arc that we created and the line that was given. The arc line intersections are these 2 points. So since those are our 2 arc line intersections, we made our double fish. It's in the middle now. Now connect the intersection of your double fish here and here. And look what we notice. It looks like it goes right through point C. And that's the goal. And that's actually, that's always going to happen. Because the double fish is always right in between my 2 points of reference. And we know that C is right in between because we made that initial arc, and we know that those distances are the same. The last thing you have to do is label it. Go ahead and make this label for me. Yeah. All right, and does anybody notice that this is like what we just did in the last lesson? It's exactly the same, right? Exactly the same. So that's good to notice that, and we're going to keep using the double fish for the next one as well. The thing I'll say as well is, think about it this way. What I just did is I made a perpendicular line from AB. Now, if I make a perpendicular line from here, right, it's going to go straight up this direction. And if I made a perpendicular line from my new line, what would I be able to say about where the pencil is and the line AB? What would they be? Same length apart, equal distance apart. Equal distance apart means they're parallel, right? So think about it. If I am going this direction and I make a 90-degree turn and I go a little further, I make another 90-degree turn, we end up with lines that are parallel. You see how that's like one way that we could arrive at a parallel line? Okay. This is a more complex way to make parallel line, actually. And the way that I'm going to teach it is the equidistance way. And that is my equidistance method is the way I'm teaching it first. Okay, we're going to learn the other method for another purpose. But here we're at the equidistance method. Okay, so we're going to construct a parallel line to the line H that goes through point A. So essentially, this is what we're going to create. Okay. We're going to create, is that parallel? Nah. Tell me when. Right there, right? That's parallel. And how do we know, I like that this came up before in class, we know that that distance is the same as that distance, right? If I was really refining it, I'd probably even move it a little bit more. Okay. So straight out from the line to the pencil is the same distance here and here, so we know the line and the pencil are parallel. That's what we're going to be creating. We're going to learn this equidistance idea to make parallel lines. All right, so first step. Step 0. Create an arc from point A that intersects line H. Create an arc from point A that intersects line H. And I want you to, I'm not going to do it. I want to see if we can interpret that and get the right mark on there. And if you don't, no worries, right? So create an arc from point A that intersects line H. And I'll tell you that you'll want it to be staked on point A. Stake it. I'm going to go ahead and make my arc about that long. If I make my arc that long, it'll intersect the line. I'll have 2 intersection points. That's what I want. So watch. A. Lean it. Drag it. Okay. The instructions may not have been super clear, but when it says create an arc from point A, that means I'm going to stake it on point A. Okay. Did you interpret it that way? Yeah, you interpreted that way? Because it might have been an arc from A to the line. Someone might have thought, well, I have to make the arc like this, like pencil mark to it. But no, it's actually, anytime it says from point A, create an arc from point A, we're staking it on A, and we make our arc. And hopefully, we end up with an arc like so. Okay. Now, what we're going to do is, we are going to look at these 2 points. Okay? And this is probably going to start to remind you of what we did above, because we're going to create a perpendicular line between point H and point A. I've set it up so that I can do a double fish in between. I said C above because it's essentially the same thing. We had 2 points, we made a double fish between, and that makes our perpendicular line. So I want you to go ahead and do that same process now with this one. And then I got another analogy for you. So make a double fish now, and that is too small of a double fish. This won't give me a double fish. I have to go more than halfway. Go more than halfway. And just go from each side, you'll create your double fish. Okay. It's like every day we use this compass, we get a little better. So keep noticing what works for you. Everyone at home, you keeping up? Any questions at home? Huh. Okay, Zach. I want you to focus on this now. Maybe you just sent an email and you got it back. I'm glad to hear that. Let's keep going with this too. All right. Okay, and then you know how to finish this. Just go ahead, get in there, and now between the intersections of the double fish, we're going to connect them. And then label it as a perpendicular line, and we've got it done. Should feel pretty good about it so far because it's something we've done before. We're just applying it slightly different. Okay, so I want to bring up this example now. Now, anybody play soccer? Probably a lot of soccer players. Ever play soccer? Ever? Yeah, play a little soccer, right? Maybe here or there. Okay, so I grew up playing soccer as well. And let's say that you had to create a goal. You're making a goal in your backyard. And what you decided was, well, I'm going to bury some 4x4 piece of wood. I'm going to bury it in the ground, okay? And I bury it in the ground, and here's going to be one post, okay? Here's going to be one post. And then I'm going to bury another post over here, the width of a soccer goal, which is probably 20 feet, 25 feet. I'm not totally sure the width, but I'm going to make another pole over here, right? And then in order for the top bar, the crossbar, to be parallel to the ground, what is necessary? Because say that I had this post and it was a little bit longer, but I decided just to put it in the ground anyway. I had this post here, and then I'm like, well, can I just put the post between the tops? Is that going to make it parallel? No. Okay, so tell yourself or tell your group here, and at home, what do I need to do? What do I need to do? Do I have to get my chainsaw and cut one of these? What's going to happen in order for me to have a parallel top bar? So go ahead and tell each other, turn around, tell each other what you think. Folks at home can tell me in the chat. What do you think? What do you think? Cut it so it's what? Equal. Equal distance. Bringing back that same idea, right? Equal distance. So folks at home, if you didn't, well, you don't have anyone to chat with, but if I cut this one so that it's as high as this, and we could put tick marks, yeah, that would be like those tick marks. If I cut it right here, and I have the same height, which is 8 feet, then I can go in, and all I need to do is connect and put the top bar on there, and it's gonna make these lines parallel. Okay. That is exactly what we're doing right now. Essentially, what do we have in the ground right now? We have one of our goalie bars here, one of our goal outside bars. So we have to make we have to put the other post in the ground over here somewhere. Okay, and that's all we're doing now. So watch how we're going to do that. Create a second perpendicular line at another location on line H. And here's how we do it. Let's go and just find another point, put another point on the line somewhere over here. And now, if I want my post to go in the ground right there, right, I need to make a double fish going up right here. The way that we're going to know where that double fish is, I want you to go ahead and make an arc just like we did up here. Remember, we made an initial arc to know where I was going to go from both sides to make my double fish. So let's do the same thing down here. You know, make it so that you can work with it. It doesn't go off the line. I'm going to go to make my arc like this. Okay. So now we're just setting it up to do another perpendicular line. We'll measure it at the end, and then we will be able to put our post in the ground straight into the air. Yeah, I'll say for folks at home too, sharpen this pencil whenever you get a chance, because if it's flat, it's gonna kind of get jaggedy and stick on this. Okay, so look, now what we have are 2 points that are equidistant from this starting point where we're going to put the post. So go to make your double fish in the middle, right here. Same thing every single time. Go more than half. Stake it. Lean it. Arc it. Whoa. See, my pencil here is too flat. It's getting jaggedy. So I need to find a way to sharpen it soon. All right. Stake it. Lean it. Arc it. All right. I see it slipped a little bit. It's fine. Okay, so now what we know is if we go between the intersections of my double fish, then we end up with extended longer than you need as well. This is like what I did with the other one. We're going to cut that off. We're going to cut it off. So I just made another perpendicular line. All right. And then it seems like the same situation as when I was doing the goal kind of creation. So what do I need to know? I need to know how tall, where do I need to get my chainsaw out and cut this left bar? How am I going to measure that? Yeah, like over here. So I measure that. I know that's how tall I need the crossbar to be. Get it nice and perfect. Nice right there. And then all I need to do is go to this point over here, stake it, and just make a little tick mark. That's just telling me where I'm going to cut. I'm going to cut it right here. And then what's the last step? Boom. Just go in here and make your line. All right, and don't forget this last step, always note that these are parallel by putting arrows on both of them. Arrows, arrows. That shows that those 2 things are parallel. Okay. So we use the equidistance method. The idea is if we get 2 goal posts that are going straight up, then if we accomplish that, we just have to find the place that's equal on both of these. Because it's going straight away from the ground, we know that that is the exact distance that is. It's not going at an angle, it's going straight up from the ground. Okay, so let me know in the chat. On a scale from 1 to 5, how do you feel about parallel perpendicular lines? And how about in here? What are you guys feeling? Yeah, good. Good. It's the same thing, right? It's the same thing. All right, 4s and 5s, 5, 3.5, 4s, 3.5. I'm guessing if you're saying 3.5, it's just because you don't have these tools. Am I right? Gotta get them. Seriously, email me at this point if you're just like, I will not be able to get them. Okay, more practice. Oh, it is a little bit confusing, but it's just practice. Okay, so Monday, I'm gonna check in again. I'm guessing it's gonna be a little less confusing after we go over more and you get the hang of it, okay? Now, you can put your notes to the side. We are going to do these couple of activities. I'm going to talk about the homework, and that'll be it, okay? So let's look at this guy. Yeah, let's do this. Yeah, this is going to be recorded, too, so you can look at it later. All right, so we have Tesla. We got Elon Musk. He came in his Tesla truck, fancy, and we're going to launch him into space. Dogecoin, to the moon. Here's his rocket. So we need to put the rocket here and set up the rocket launch pad to ensure the rocket shoots straight up from point A. Okay. Now, you don't have to copy this. I just want you to lead me through it. I'm going to let you guys in class kind of lead me through it. What's the first step? What do you think we can do? What do you think we can do? Think back to the other ones, how we created the other. And what? Yeah? Where should I stake it? On A. Perfect. All right, so just watch this, guys. Oh, Jatavi, I don't know what that means. Look, stake on A. Arc it. Good. All right, so now what I have are these 2 points to work with. So I'm going to call on folks. Let's say Liliani, what am I going to do next? What do you think? Double fish from that point and that point, right? Okay, good. And we know it's going to be in the middle because these are, whoa, I messed up. What did I do? Is that going to make a double fish? No, not going to make it. It won't be helpful if they just barely touch. I need to go what? Pass halfway. That going to do? I think I'll do it. Let's make a little fish. All right, double fish it. Double fish, boom. And then, Alejandro, what's the last step? What do you think? I've done most of the work. What do I need to put there now? Perfect. And you know what? It is the bisector between these 2 points. I think that's a good use of the word there. We're going to go ahead and make, and I see it's a little bit off just because I think it slipped a little bit, but I'm going to put it right there. That's okay. He's still going to get it into the air. And just mark that it's perpendicular, and that's all we had to do. Okay. So I think it's like when we're working on it separate, I like to also give you an example where you don't have to do it. You can just watch it and see that, okay, that's how we knock that out. Okay. So we got it perpendicular. Now it can launch straight up, and no problem, no problem. Right. Next, we got the dog pool. We got the dogs ready to swim. My dog is like it's a miniature Aussie. It even has like webbed feet, but it doesn't know that like it's the best. She's the best swimmer of all time, so she's afraid of water still. But anytime she's got in the water, she's like treading, no problem. So maybe she'll grow out of it. But dog swimming pool. We got to paint the lines here. We're going to create parallel lines from line M using a distance to point A as a guide. So we know it has to be this width. Okay. So let's see. This one is a little bit trickier. But how are we going to create a parallel line? How are we going to get a line like this? Maybe I'll ask somebody at home. Thanks, Jeremy. That's my drawings. Cool. Anybody at home want to give a first step? Kim, you got an idea? What should I do? What shall I do? Maybe that was too much pressure. All right, I'll take a suggestion from in here. From A? Okay, see Kim said it. Create an arc. So I'm going to connect your two ideas. We're going to stake it at A. Stake it at A. And remember, it has to make 2 intersection points. So I'm going to go ahead and make it so that I get an arc that hits 2 spots. And then honestly, I feel like what we keep seeing is the same situation, right? So the same situation, I have these 2 points, right? And Kim, what am I going to make next? Sorry, I don't mean to pick on you. I just happened to ask. So what do I need to make next? What do you say? Uh-oh. Stumped. Let's help her in here. Yeah. Double fish. And it's like the answer, a line between A. Okay. So the way we're going to do that is double fish it. That's even more than we need. We just need to go more than halfway. Good. I stake it. I lean it. Whoa. Stake it. I lean it. I arc it. Stake it. I lean it. I arc it. Nice. Okay. So I'm going to finish this one, and then we're going to have to talk about how we're going to do this next one. All right. It looks like I missed the mark slightly, so that's okay, though. It's not totally perpendicular. That is. All right. Next. I'm going to give you a hint. Let's go ahead and just make a point right there. And then I'm going to ask Alejandro, what should I do now from this point? What do you think? So remember, we have to make another double fish. The goal is to make another double fish, so I have to find a way to have two other points to make the double fish right here. So this was related to, in some ways, how we did the Tesla rocket launch. So what was the first step we did? Yeah. So A was that one, but over here we're going to go ahead and do stake it at this new point, arc it. Whoa. I caught it. Almost caught it. Catch it. All right, good enough. All right, we staked it. Now we have these 2 points. And Jaden helps out. What's next? Double fish from those 2 points. It's like the answer, if you're ever confused with this when it gets to a test or assessment, if you're like not sure what to do, what do? Just make a double fish. In any direction, you probably got it. Okay, there's the one double fish going over the Chihuahua. Another double fish. Let's get it. Let's get a steak. Double fish lean. All right, that's pretty good. Okay, and then it's the same thing. I mean, we've done the same thing. Now all we have to do is get it up here. And Liliani, what's next? This is just like those goalposts, right? So now, what do I need to do? Because I know I want A. I want it to be that width. So what do you say? A in the line, perfect. And there is A in the line. And then what do I need to do? How about stake it here? Just make a little mark. And we could see with the grid, right? The graph paper shows us that we're on the right track. I could see that this distance here, from here to here, is the same as from here to here. The grid marks help us see that. And the last step is to have a ruler handy for this. And we're going to make our line. Okay? Last step. What do I need to show? How do I show that these are parallel? Boom. Done. Okay? If I wanted to keep going, I wanted to extend it over here, you know, I would just have to keep this line. I could just extend that line out. And as long as I have these perpendicular lines, I would just have to find that measurement. Boom, boom, line. Boom, boom, line. You can build off what you did before. Keep building in that direction, okay? But that's all we have to do. We just had to make one lane. That was my goal for this. Good, Kim. So make those tick marks. These are called tick marks. When you do parallel line tick marks, they're those arrows. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and share, for folks at home, I'm going to keep recording, but I'm going to share the homework and just take a look at it with you real quick. Okay, and maybe I can even do this. You all are going to just see that. Let's see if it works. Okay. Oh, everyone can see this. I'll just keep it like this. Nice. Okay, so with this, we have today's homework. It is not this class. Okay. Today's homework, 533. Now, look what it says. In the attached, you're only completing 3 to 4, 7 to 8. Okay? But look, here it says, apply what you know to create a perpendicular bisector for number 1. Do number 1 last. I kept this as your kind of like challenge problem because the perpendicular bisector is an aspect of all the things we've learned. We're just doing a perpendicular line right there. So I'm giving you that as something we didn't explicitly talk about, but I think it's something that you already learned and you'll be able to accomplish it. So just do number 1 last, guys. That's what I was pointing out. The problem here, and if you don't have your workbook, you can, oh, it's not even coming in at all. There we go. Came out of nowhere. Okay. So if you don't have your workbook, you have these lines, and what you'll have to do is you'll just have to go onto, you know, the screen and measure that, and then just get your example on your page, just measuring it from whatever it is on the screen. Okay. So these are real specific instructions. Make sure you look at that closely, please. And we have a due date, but I will collect accept all homework, late work without penalty. Okay. So that is the share. Let's go ahead and stop the camera.